Sonya Massey, a name that's been buzzing around the news lately. Her story is tragic, infuriating, and, quite frankly, it's going to leave you questioning a lot about justice and humanity. This is the story of Sonya Massey, a woman whose call for help turned into a fatal encounter. Imagine calling 911 for assistance and ending up losing your life. That's precisely what happened to Sonya Massey. She was a 39-year-old woman from Springfield, Tennessee, who found herself in a terrifying situation and did what anyone would do. She called for help. Little did she know that this call would set off a chain of events leading to her untimely death. On a quiet evening just a week ago, Sonya Massey was home alone when she heard suspicious noises outside her house. Fearing for her safety, she dialed 911. The dispatcher assured her that help was on the way. But what unfolded next was beyond anyone's worst nightmare. When Deputy Sean Grayson arrived on the scene, things took a dark turn. According to reports, there was a miscommunication between Sonya and the deputy. She was frightened and had armed herself with a small kitchen knife, thinking she might need to protect herself from whoever was outside. Grayson, upon seeing her with the knife, perceived her as a threat. In a matter of seconds, shots were fired, and Sonya Massey lay bleeding on the floor of her own home. Deputy Grayson claimed he acted in self-defense, but witnesses and family members argue that Sonya posed no real threat. They believe she was simply trying to defend herself in a state of panic. The conflicting accounts have sparked a fierce debate and a demand for justice from the community. As the news of Sonya's death spread, the public outcry grew louder. People wanted answers. How could a woman calling for help end up dead? The authorities announced an investigation, but many felt it was just a formality to placate the angry masses. Deputy Sean Grayson's record was scrutinized, revealing a history of misconduct allegations. This wasn't his first controversial incident. There were previous complaints about his aggressive behavior, but they had somehow slipped through the cracks. How could someone with such a record still be in uniform, armed, and supposedly there to protect and serve? During a community listening session held just days after the incident, emotions ran high. Sonya's family and friends shared their grief and frustration. They described her as a loving mother, a dedicated employee, and a kind-hearted person who didn't deserve such a fate. Her daughter's tearful plea for justice moved many to tears, highlighting the deep impact this tragedy had on those who knew Sonya. The initial investigation has uncovered that the police department had received numerous warnings about Grayson's behavior. Internal emails and reports showed a pattern of negligence and cover-ups. This revelation only fueled the public's anger and distrust towards the law enforcement system. As the pressure mounted, Deputy Grayson was placed on administrative leave, but this did little to calm the storm. Protests erupted in Springfield, demanding accountability and justice for Sonya Massey. People from all walks of life joined in, united by their desire to see change. The media coverage brought national attention to the case, with many comparing it to other high-profile incidents of police misconduct. The story of Sonya Massey quickly became a symbol of the systemic issues plaguing law enforcement. Her death was not just a tragic accident, it was a glaring example of the failures within the system. Lawmakers and activists have already begun pushing for reforms, calling for better training, stricter accountability measures, and comprehensive background checks for officers. Sonya's death has become a catalyst for a broader conversation about police practices and the urgent need for change. Sonya Massey's story doesn't end with her tragic death. Her family and community have become vocal advocates for change, using her story to highlight the need for reform. They've organized rallies, spoken at public forums, and worked tirelessly to keep her memory alive while pushing for systemic changes. In the immediate aftermath of Sonya's death, several key actions have been taken. The police department is under intense scrutiny, with high-ranking officials facing calls for resignation. The state has announced plans for an independent review of the department's practices, aimed at preventing such tragedies in the future.
Deputy Grayson, once a symbol of authority, now finds himself at the center of a criminal investigation. The charges against him could include manslaughter and misconduct. This impending trial is expected to draw significant media attention, focusing on the broader issues of police accountability and the justice system's handling of officer-involved shootings. Throughout this unfolding situation, Sonya's family remains steadfast in their pursuit of justice.
They attend every public meeting, their presence a constant reminder of the human cost of this tragedy. The community continues to rally around them, providing support and solidarity.
Sonya Massey's story is a heartbreaking reminder of the fragility of life and the flaws within the system meant to protect us. Her death has left a void that can never be filled, but it has also sparked a movement for justice and reform. As we remember Sonya, we must continue to fight for a world where calling for help doesn't end in tragedy.